Hey there, and welcome to the Create With podcast. This is a bit of a special episode coming from Bangkok here, and Kieran
And Norwich.
in yeah.
Well, hey.
Yeah, so this is the podcast where we talk about building software, so apps, agents, and automations using AI and visual development, so without writing code yourself. This is this is going to be a bit of a special episode. We just had our first ever event in Bangkok last night, which was really, really good. It was sold out as well, which I was really surprised about. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we hit the max capacity. So yeah, we were really kind of blown away by the level of interest, and we had four great speakers. So yeah, it was a fantastic night.
Yeah, it sounds brilliant and the photos look amazing. What were the speakers talking about? I'd love to hear a bit about the general state of kind of automations and vibe coding and everything over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how advanced it is. Actually, I think it is a bit further ahead in the UK in terms of adoption into kind of SMEs in particular, I think. So yeah, all four of our speakers showed kind of real life things they'd built with a host of different tools actually. So yeah, we had Jake was showing us an example of using Make. So he had a bunch of very complex automations, but probably one of my favorite ones that he showed was a real life example of kind of an e-commerce brand that had built a back-end workflow or kind of an AI agent in Make, which was able to respond to their brand comments on Instagram. So and it had all the knowledge through kind of a RAG system of all the product information and inventory and store locations and all that kind of stuff, so that whenever someone commented, oh, what kind of lens is this, for example, or what sizes does this come in, how much is it, the bot it automatically got triggered and then replied to their comment on Instagram all automatically in kind of like brand tone of voice. So I thought that was a really cool example of like a real world custom system that someone had built. And then we also had Stuart, who had built an incredible vacations booking platform, which was tapping into Airbnb. So showing us a little bit about how he was interacting with the Airbnb API. And again, it was all kind of built with Claude Code. It was fantastic looking dashboards. That was really cool. Natt then showed us a really interesting use case. So she came from a background of biochemistry, and they were doing blood tests effectively, and there was a very antiquated way they were managing that through, I think, 170 different Google Forms, which was kind of a nightmare to operate. So she was showing this amazing example of how she'd tied together Xano and then kind of vibe coded a dashboard with Claude Code to manage this whole process like extremely slickly, and it was just amazing. And talking through how to use Claude Code, and I get some of the stuff we've spoken about before, actually, about how to deploy on Netlify, I think it was, the actual kind of final app via kind of GitHub. So that was really cool. And then we had Opal, who runs the biggest kind of no code Facebook group over here with over 10,000 members, I think. So it kind of gives you a sense, just for kind of Bangkok, Thailand, big groups on Facebook, all dedicated to this, and so many people are interested in it here. And there is a real and there's a lot of no-code meetups that actually happen here as well that I didn't know about, but some of the organizers came to our event as well, so it was great to meet them. And yeah, it sounds like we might have the more AI meetups coming in Bangkok in partnership with them, and we also might have one coming up in Da Nang in Vietnam as well. So there was also someone who was interested in bringing it there. So really, really exciting to see it. Just the enthusiasm here for kind of no code visual development AI. and all the different things that people were using it for. Yeah, it was a really fascinating evening, and we did record all those talks as well. So yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, those are some really interesting use cases, aren't they? I mean, turning 170 Google Forms into one nice dashboard, um, is you can instantly see how much time and pain that is going to save, and especially when it's applied in a medical situation with blood tests. I mean, possibly saving lives, or at the very least, like helping people with their health, which is
Yeah,
just incredible. And then when you think like what the alternative would have been for someone who doesn't code to get that done a few years ago, you'd have had to hire a team of devs and potentially spend a lot of money on getting that done, and it may never have been as good as someone who's actually facing the problem and working on it every day and can understand it. So I take it did she know how to code, or was she just fully
no,
like vibe coding through
yeah,
Claude Code?
and I think that was one of the interesting elements of her presentation actually, because she was very upfront at the beginning about saying, the actual business logic or the very complex stuff about the app was done in Xano visually. So all the stuff that was relating to how records are stored and all of that, basically she made an API in Xano through the visual editor, and then gave the spec of that to Claude Code to then build out the app. But yeah, she was very, I think this is something we do come across quite a lot with vibe coded apps that don't have that separation between back end and front end, is that you can get into sticky situations quite quick with things like auth and database schemas and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was a really, really interesting approach actually to use those kind of visual capabilities of a tool like Xano to build out your data structure, get that all set, and then take that spec and use that to vibe code kind of the front end for everything. So yeah, that was a really interesting approach, I thought.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Yeah, and it makes you think like maybe the vibe coding aspect is really just best for the front end UIs, which always take ages, and if you're not a designer, incredibly hard to make it look good. But AI can vibe code your interfaces very effectively, very quickly. But perhaps for non-coders, it's best to keep your logic and everything else in a visual form, so you can just be sure of how it's all working, and make sure that it's going to be reliable and consistent, and you understand if things go wrong. So yeah, that is a very interesting approach. I'd quite like to try that, but I definitely want to watch the talk back.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm excited to watch them back again as well, because I learned a ton. And another interesting bit, like you mentioned UI, was that I think a couple of the speakers were using the Figma MCP with Claude Code, which kind of gives it much better steer of UI. So if you have a design in Figma of your dashboard, effectively, it kind of uses that as a reference when it's building stuff to keep it consistent within your kind of look and feel. But yeah, from what I've seen as well with Gemini 3 and the new Claude Opus 4.5, the examples I've seen are like that they are getting very, very good at UI. They're not as good as like a really good human. And again, this was something that came up at the event last night. We had like a founder of a design agency there who was, had a team of like 20 designers all around the world, and they weren't super worried about the oncoming of AI, because I think there's always that if you're a bad kind of human, like designer, you do have something to worry about. But if you're one of the ones who's, really thinking about, taste and that kind of element that comes into it, I think there is still going to be a place for human designers with that kind of thing. Because AI designs can look great, but to be honest, a lot of them kind of look the same. I'm sure we've all probably seen the kind of the purple startup landing pages that a lot of them churn out. So yeah, I think there is still going to be a good place for human design, and it was great to see, that human design done in Figma could kind of be hooked into Claude Code through that MCP integration. So that's definitely on my list of things to try myself, because I've read a bit about it, but I haven't actually tried it.
Yes, definitely good to hear that there is going to be space for some humans, some jobs remaining for the best humans at least. And I think the same principle probably applies to a lot of industries, doesn't it? The people who are top of their game or already doing good quality stuff are going to be able to rise above the AI slop, or maybe not slop at some point. But yeah, all the people who are kind of, I don't know, scamming people with low quality stuff are unfortunately going to, yeah, have to do something else.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think it's really going to fly anymore to just kind of copy templates and customize them and sell them and run an agency that way. Like, I think there is a real opportunity if you can get in on AI and do it well now. Like, you can be one of the early people out there and really like getting a lot more through, being a lot more efficient, producing a lot more. Um, but yeah, I think the kind of phoning it in is is going to be a thing of the past. So yeah, but it's very, very interesting to follow. And yeah, I was just super inspired by the diversity of all the different stuff that people were building.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. Yeah, and that's why these meetups are so good, because a lot of these people you just wouldn't interact with online, and then you meet them in real life and hear what they're working on, and it just blows your mind. And often it's like way ahead of the stuff that you're hearing people talking about, even on Twitter. So yeah, it's good to get out there and do these real life things.
It is. A few people said it yesterday as well, and it's something that we always, I think we hear a lot at the events is there isn't anything quite like meeting people in person. I think it's one thing to sit there and watch a bunch of YouTube tutorials, but when you can actually get into a room with people and, share kind of your honest reflections on using some of the tools as well. I think there's a lot of quite frank conversations that maybe wouldn't happen online. People being a bit more honest about where they've struggled and where things have been difficult. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I just love all the meetups and events is getting to see all of that. But yeah, it gives you that different side to it, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely, and looking forward to having lots more of them.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, we've got a few in the diary on the website still, and yeah, hopefully we're going to have a few more out here in Asia as well. So we are looking for ambassadors as well. So if you are interested in hosting a local Create with AI meetup, then reach out to us. I'll put the link in the description for the kind of ambassador program. But yeah, I think like we were saying before, it's a great way of kind of getting known in your local city for being the AI person and kind of building up your own kind of profile. So it's definitely something that's worth doing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good opportunity. Because yeah, the people that come to these meetups is a real mix, but a lot of them are coming from businesses who are interested in learning about AI and want to use these tools, but they might not have the expertise. So it would not surprise me at all if they were coming there to hire someone as a consultant or maybe as an employee. So yeah, I think for anyone looking to get into AI, even if you're just starting out, the best thing you can do really is hang out with people who are doing it and just learn as much as you can and ask around, see if anyone needs any help with automating their stuff. And pretty soon you'll have built up a good portfolio of case studies that you can show to people. I had a guy message me just like a cold DM on LinkedIn, just asking for advice, and he said he's based in Nigeria, and he said he spent the last year like learning all this stuff, but he hasn't been able to earn any money, and like could I advise him? But he said he was only 20 years old, and I was like, man, when I was 20, the only money I'd ever earned was like working in a shop or something. There was no way I was doing anything as exciting as learning about AI and automations and things like that. So I just told him, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you gotta putting yourself out there, sending these like really honest, nice messages to people, just asking for advice is just a great way to do things. And if you can get on a call with them or meet them in real life, even better, because the internet's full of people asking things, and it gets a bit overwhelming. But once you met someone in real life, or even on a video call, you suddenly think of them next time someone's like, I need an automation done, and then you'll just be like, I know a person. So yeah, I think putting yourself out there is just so important at this time in the development of all this new technology and these big changes.
It is, yeah. It's like it's a good argument to get out of your comfort zone, because I think like a few of our speakers yesterday were saying, I've never really do public speaking, I'm nervous, but they were amazing, and it's just like, yeah, putting yourself out there, sharing your story. You'd be amazed how many people come up and ask questions and just like want to know you, and then how that can snowball into introductions, or maybe you start a new startup or whatever. We've seen pretty much everything from the conference and the meetups. We've seen all sorts of stuff happen. People get jobs or start new things. It's great. So yeah, if you can make it to in-person stuff, I really do recommend it. So some of the other news I thought we could cover this week, obviously, in the kind of never-ending leapfrog of which model is best, there's been, I'm sure we've all seen hundreds of gushing LinkedIn posts and Twitter posts about both Gemini 3 and Claude Opus 4.5 in the last few days as well, accompanied by the usual flurry of charts and performance benchmarks and stuff. But yeah, I've had a bit of a play with both of them. I think the standout thing for me from the Google update was the Nano Banana Pro. So the image editing. For me, that was the real kind of wow thing. Like, it can actually design really quite complex kind of things like infographics and illustrations, like way beyond anything that I've seen before, certainly way beyond OpenAI. And from what I've read about Claude's Opus 4.5, is the cost of it is a major breakthrough in that it's a lot cheaper. So it's obviously supposed to be a lot more intelligent than the previous models, but they've managed to get the cost of it down significantly, which is in itself quite interesting. So I want to have I mean, the initial reviews I've seen of everyone's saying Gemini 3 and Opus 4.5 are amazing, but I think people kind of say that with every model that's launched. So it'll be interesting to really dive into it and use it for case studies, like so with Create With, for example. Whenever I'm working on something with AI, I will spend ages writing a prompt and then try it in all the different ones and look at the outputs. And I just did that today, actually, and I thought Claude was ahead in its output still in terms of its writing style. I thought Gemini 3 was still a little bit robotic sounding. But yeah, what were your thoughts on all of these updates over the last few weeks?
I haven't tried any of them. I'm vaguely aware of some discussion about it, but yeah, I'm still using ChatGPT. 5.1 is the one that's been foisted upon me by my ChatGPT interface, but sometimes I've actually found myself reverting to 4.0, which seems like a year ago, because I've found it 5.1 keeps telling me ridiculous things, especially regarding dates. It told me a date next month was in the past, and it was very, very sure about that, and it knew exactly what day today was. I told it today is this date, and it was like, yeah, and this date is definitely in the past, but it was in the future. So it's just, sometimes it's bonkers, and it sounds so sure of itself. And then I push back and I push back, and eventually it's like, oh, of course, you're right. Good catch.
Yeah.
And that just makes me like lose all trust in it. So yeah, I'm going backwards, 4.0, and then maybe I'll use 3 or whatever was the one before that.
Yeah,
ChatGPT
03 was
2.
the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be it's like that the thing that Claude always says, isn't it? It's like, oh, you're absolutely right. People have got t-shirts on that. It's like, when it kind of messes up, then that's it, just, oh yeah, that was completely wrong, oh never mind. Yeah, but it does kind of undermine your whole trust in it a little bit when it does that.
Yeah, and I have in my custom instructions, I told it, like, if you're not sure about something, say so. Don't just and like, don't sound super confident if you are just really guessing or making something up. But it cannot help but sound extremely confident about everything it says, which is really quite annoying. And I hope, proper intelligence is when it can say, to be honest, I don't really know for sure about this, so I'm just gonna, this is a guess, but might be wrong. That'll be when it's like way more human like. Although obviously there are humans that are incapable of doing that as well.
Yeah, that's it. It's just less of the blagging and a bit more kind of
Yeah.
honesty. It seems that's kind of one of the enduring things about LLMs. I guess they're always aiming to please, even if it's with incorrect information. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's really the other thing that I have had a quick play with that a few people may have heard of that came out with Gemini 3 is Google's new anti-gravity kind of code editor, which is I think the result of all the people that went to Google from Windsurf. So it's a new kind of code IDE, kind of VS Code cursor fork basically. It has a slightly different approach to things where it's got the UI is slightly different and it's got things like nicer views for what agents are doing, and it's designed to be a bit more of a rethink of like AI driven development. I found it a bit of a mess when I first used it. So far, I still prefer the cleanness of Cursor, and using Codex in Cursor for me is still nice. It has got some interesting ideas, but um, yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. And the other thing is you are limited to only using Gemini 3 in it. It's not like, at least if you're in Cursor or whatever, you can try out these other models, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's free, so it's kind of worth checking out if you are kind of a vibe coder. It's an interesting new thing.
Yeah, because is it not right that to use Claude Code like a decent amount, you need to be like on the $200 a month plan, don't you?
They had changed the usage limits. I mean, when I first started using it, I was on the $20 a month plan, and I'd managed to do a bit, but then I went up to the $75 a month plan, and then I never hit the limit again, even with working in it all day. But I would hope that after this new Opus 4.5 stuff, the allowances are maybe a bit more generous again, because it does seem to be something that is being changed all the time, is the amount of allowance. But yeah, I'm not really. That's probably why I've also been using OpenAI more, because I've very, very rarely ever hit the limits with Codex. They're very, very generous in the tokens. But yeah, I think probably like most of us, I don't particularly want multiple $200 a month subscriptions for all these different vibe coding things. So while I'm curious to go back and try Claude Code again, I don't really want to kind of go for a massive subscription. I'm still pretty happy with Codex, but I will give it a try on a kind of a £20 subscription and see what I think. But yeah, some of the new stuff it's got does look pretty interesting. So it's always cool to see what's happening with all of that stuff.
Right, well, I might have to stop trying Claude Code and switch over to Codex then, because I was just in the process of finally getting started with Claude Code, and I was trying to get it to make me a kind of boilerplate framework that I could use every time I want to spin up an idea, but I got stuck like halfway through and then stopped doing it.
Yeah, I would definitely check out Codex and specifically the plugin for VS Code or Cursor, the Codex plugin. Over the last week or two, they have really, really been improving the UX of it. So you can see very clearly what code it's editing, what its planning is, what it's doing. It looks really, really cool. So yeah, I'd definitely give that a go.
Cool. All right, I will.
Nice. And another kind of tech community I wanted to give a shout out to this week was Tech Found Her. So I met Marin at our Brighton event a couple of weeks back, and she's based in Ireland, and it's a tech group that's all about getting more women into coding and building stuff. And they had a big announcement this week with launching a new program, kind of a pre-accelerator program called We Build, which is aiming to get 150 women to build tech-driven ventures over the next couple of years. So definitely go and check out Tech Founder, particularly for their events that happen in Ireland. Hopefully, we'll be collaborating on some stuff in the future at Create With as well. But that was something that kind of has been spoken about quite a bit, is the whole gender diversity and what we can do to bring more women into vibe coding, AI, agents. So yeah, I thought that's a really great initiative.
Yeah, it's so important, and that's what we always try at our events and at the conference to really get as much of a gender balance as we possibly can, because there are so many people with potential talent who just don't get the opportunity because they think it's like it's not something they're supposed to do, or they're told by society that they should be doing something else. So yeah, if we can get every person who has a kind of technical brain to realize that they can just sit down and start building stuff, that would be fantastic. Because yeah, think of all the problems that would get solved.
That's it. And it's people coming from all sorts of different specialisms into making their own apps. That's what we're always saying, from whatever job you're currently doing, you're probably an expert in that. So why not build software to make that easier? Because there's probably not a lot of people doing it. So it's great. It's a great way of getting in. So yeah, I think that kind of is probably a bit of a wrap on this episode. This is kind of a special one, obviously, from Bangkok while I'm here. The next stop, actually, I am heading over to Singapore tomorrow for an AI conference. So I'm going to try and do a bit of stuff there as well, because from everything I've seen, Singapore is also another major AI hub. So I can't wait to see what happens there. And we've got some other events coming up as well. I think Norwich is coming up at some point, Kieran.
Yeah, still nailing down the final details, but we're definitely hoping to have a meetup in Norwich in December.
Perfect. Awesome. And we've got a couple of others that we're in early planning for next year, particularly kind of in the north of the UK. We've got a couple that we will kind of be announcing in due course soon, but very exciting. And we may also have some other big news next week that we're very excited to talk about. You can probably have a guess what that might be, but we'll save that for next week. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. And if you're interested in learning more about anything, so that those talks that we mentioned that happened in Bangkok, you can find us on social media, so on X, Create with HQ, or LinkedIn, and you can find all the speakers and all the info about what happened there. And if you're a Create with member, you'll be also able to see all those videos, all those talks as well as part of your membership. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you again soon.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye bye.